next slide. We'll come back to that slide. There we go. So we have a segment, we have a ray, and we have a line. Okay, we already said that a line extends infinitely in all directions.
That's a segment.
That's a line.
Wait.
There's
Oh,
arrows
wait, I
at the
didn't
end.
hear what you said. My bad.
So a line extends infinitely in all directions. It has no beginning, it has no end, it just keeps going. Okay? And that's exactly why when you guys were trying the inspires, you couldn't make a midpoint on the ray, okay? Because there's no way to make an endpoint to infinity. There's no halfway to infinity. The only halfway to infinity is infinity. It's not a joke, I'm serious. Just gotta learn to get the math stuff. Okay, so a line goes in both directions for an infinite amount of time. So how is that different from a ray? A ray has one endpoint. Line, and therefore a segment therefore has two endpoints. Okay? Now, the way that we label these, and guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is the syntax and the labeling, and for some of you, the hardest thing you're going to deal with geometry is learning how to read the math. It has now become a foreign language. You have to learn to read the symbols. The way that we label segments, rays, and lines is with two letters. And it's the 2 points that are on the line. Points are always going to be capitalized. Okay, so please make a note of that. Points are always capitalized. No. Yes, those are arrows. Okay, so we call this segment AB. We represent that with the two letters going from A to B. Starting at A, ending at B. And it's a straight bar on top. That means segment AB. Okay, so the straight bar on top means segment AB. It's a straight bar, yeah. My handwriting just sucks. Okay. The next one for ray, again, we're starting at A. Guys, the endpoint's always going to go first for the ray. Okay, that makes a big difference. So the endpoint goes first. We're starting at A, we're going toward B, and then because it's a ray, it looks like a single arrow, so we call that ray AB. So ray has the one arrow at the end. And then lines, lines have arrows on both sides. Line AB. Lines never stop. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, let's do some more definitions. Oh, there we go. All right, guys, what does that prefix co mean? Taylor, what does co mean as a prefix? Okay, to assist. I like cooperate. What does it mean like co-author? Something like that. So therefore they worked on it together. Okay, right there. That's the key thing. When we look at the prefix co, right, Corey, we want to make sure we think about that as together. Co means together. So think about collinear. Okay, that's what that term means. Collinear. What do you think that means?
A linear line on on two planes.
No.
Two linear lines.
You can have two lines that are on the same plane, so they're together on the same plane. We would call that coplanar. If things are on the same plane, then they're coplanar. If things are on the same line, then we call that collinear. So if you have 3 or more points on the same line, then those points are collinear. All right, so that's what that means. So on the same line. On the same line means collinear. Okay, now if we're on the same plane, we call that coplanar. What does a bisector do? Bi means what? To sect something. Take apart. Okay, so what does a bisector do?
Two. I'm gonna make a funny.
Okay,
Two take apart because two sounds like T-O.
so close.
Goodness gracious.
But it takes apart in a very special way. Again, think about bi meaning two, sect means to take apart.
Oh, take apart two.
So we're breaking it into two parts, but there's some, not just two lines,
Two lines.
two equal parts. A bisector cuts things into two equal parts. So that's what a bisector is. It cuts into two equal parts. So if I have an angle bisector, that's going to cut my angle in half. If I have a segment bisector, it cuts my segment in half. You know, what's parallel? Go ahead. No, that's similar. Brandon? Nope. Okay, yeah, so what does that mean, Bill? Or, you know.
It means that the two lines will never cross each other.
Yes. In plane geometry, that is a true statement. So, and parallel means that the lines do not intersect, right?
Yeah. They stay on their planes forever and never cross.
Oh, but they do have to be, in order to be parallel, they must be coplanar.
Yeah. On the same plane.
Exactly. So,
Looks like a W instead of CO.
alright, so then what is perpendicular?
Like
Okay, Casey.
They cross once.
But how do they cross?
They cross. That, yeah. Yeah.
That's perpendicular?
no.
No.
They cross their 90 degree.
There we go. So we intersect at right angles. Intersect at right angles.
I have no idea what that says.
Intersect at right angles. So, okay, guys, let's put things together here. What is a perpendicular bisector?
Perpendicular. Oh, wouldn't that be two lines that just like cross pretty much?
Okay, so we can have two lines. All right, and let's call those segments. So here's one segment. Okay, and the other one, it's a perpendicular bisector. So first it's going to be perpendicular, right? So that's going to be coming down vertically. But if it's a bisector, it has to go through what? What do we call this point right here? The midpoint. So a perpendicular bisector goes through the midpoint at a right angle.
So it's like a. Yep.
All right, like I said, these are just some really basic terms that we need to make sure we go over.
So what's that called? A perpendicular?
Perpendicular bisector. And we know that it's a bisector because these two lengths are equal. And so those tick marks mean those lengths are equal. And then we also have an angle bisector. So here's my angle. And again, my angle bisector is going to be a line that cuts the angle in half. Oh, nice drawing there. And then we represent congruent angles that they have these little arcs. So if the two arcs are equal, that's how we know the angles are equal. Okay, well, let's take a look at some images here, and you guys tell me what's going on.